Hello and welcome to Seattle City Makers. I'm your host, Jon Scholes. Welcome to our latest episode. I'm joined by Erica Thrash-Sall, who is the CEO of Horizon House, the independent senior living campus here in downtown Seattle in the First Hill neighborhood. Erica hails from Flint, Michigan, and has been leading Horizon House over the last several years and leading its expansion. They recently broke ground on a new 33-story tower on First Hill adjacent to their current facilities called the West Tower. Erica and I discussed that project and much more. I hope you enjoy my conversation with Erica Thrash-Sall, the CEO of Horizon House. Well, thank you for coming down and joining us on Seattle City Makers.
Well, thank you for having me.
On this March. It's very Marchy out. It's so
Definitely
cold
Marchy.
and great. Winter finally came.
Finally.
Nothing like Michigan winters, but
No.
which I know where you're from, but
No, I love this. This is, flowers bloom in January here, so I love the winter.
and it's your second Seattle winter, right?
third, actually.
Third.
It's my third winter here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought you took over in what, July of 23?
July of 23.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
winter of
just-
20. Well, I guess
Yeah.
it depends on how you count the winters.
Yeah. So you don't mind the big dark and the gray and the wet.
Nope. It's green all year here.
Yep.
And it's mild. So I love it.
Yeah.
To me, the sunshine and snow don't mix. So I don't mind the big dark.
Yeah. What brought you here? originally?
Horizon House.
Yeah. You came for the
I came for Horizon House.
Did they find you or you find them? Or?
They found me.
Yeah.
But it did check all the boxes. I had created this bit of manifesto when I knew that I was ready to leave Flint around where I wanted to live. I'd never been very intentional about that. And, I thought about this as my kind of third act and where I want to be and stay. And so it needed to have staying power. And Seattle more than checks all the boxes for me.
Had you spent much time here before?
That's the funny part. No. The Pacific Northwest, when you're in the Midwest, the Pacific Northwest, it just seems like the other end of the
A little
earth.
ways away.
Yeah, and
out on the frontier up here.
Right. The first time I ever even got here, I did a program and I was in Portland in 2019. I have a cousin who lives in Tacoma, so I took the train up, but I didn't really get a chance to see it until I came to my interview, and I just feel like it's one of those best kept secrets.
Did you have like a 70-degree clear day and Mount Rainier was out? And
Mount Rainier was out, and it was April, and it was beautiful. It was mild. So I had a great welcoming. Then, of course, I came in the summer. So it was perfect every day, my first summer here. And so the Horizon House jokes now, you only hire CEOs and have them start in the summer.
July.
Yeah.
But you adjusted to fall in the winter, it sounds like, and you don't mind this sloppy.
Well,
we're
Michigan is
having right
like way worse. And I have to tell you, the one big surprise for me was fall. I thought I would miss the fall because, all of the, leaves changing and all of that. But, that happens here in Seattle as well.
Yeah.
It's enough deciduous trees to
you get up there
give
in
you that fall.
the mountains a little bit and even down here. And then we get cherry blossoms in the spring. So
Oh, very early. End of February, we have cherry blossoms. So is that unusual for Seattle?
Yeah, this whole winter has been pretty unusual.
Okay.
This warmth and sun and no snow in
Lots
the
of
mountains.
sun.
But now it feels like winter's found us. So you mentioned this was your third chapter. How do you describe your first two?
Oh, the first two, I have to say, not planned. I'll say that. Growing up in Michigan, I had a wonderful, wonderful upbringing with parents who were extremely supportive, probably a little too supportive. They let me chart my own path without a lot of input. And so, I was someone who loved to learn, went to college to learn, never really thought about what I was going to do for work. And so it took me a while to really find out, number one, what I was good at, and number two, what I really wanted to do. But I will say I had a great opportunity to enter into nonprofit space. And that's where I learned really quickly what I was not good at and how I could really support people and support the work of, the people who do the hardest work, your social workers, your nurses. So that's what really launched my career. And then, I was someone who said yes to everything. And so I was able to learn a lot and do a lot. And that helped me really develop a strong skill set. And one, I would say, where I got a chance to see a lot of different things, a lot of opportunity to create. And so, I would say all of that whole path kind of landed me where I'm at today. But I didn't know it for a long time. I'll say that. I didn't know that not having kind of one strong skill set could benefit me. I always lamented over, I wish I was, a finance person, or, I wish I was an engineer or something where it was really focused, after having spent many years of work that wasn't quite focused, but strategic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always thought, it'd be nice to have a trade, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I kind of felt like a generalist myself all these years. And for those that may not be super familiar with Horizon House, what's the story of Horizon House and what's the state of the organization today?
So Horizon House is a phenomenal senior living organization. It's what's known as a life plan community. Life plan community meaning that, people come in when they are thriving and vibrant and live independently, but they end up spending the rest of their life there. And so Horizon House started 65 years ago. And it really was an idea of Myrtle Edwards and some folks from the UCC church around, how can we age in a place where we can still be in community? Mm-hmm. At the time, a lot of the models for life plan community were you go out somewhere to age. You go to some rural community and, you just stay there and you don't stay connected with the city or your community. And so Horizon House really wanted to be something different. And we've stayed pretty true to our mission. It was a place where, although the kind of ideas of agency didn't exist at the time, but that's really what the leaders and founders of Horizon House wanted. They wanted the older adults who live there to have agency over their experience. And so, it's an organization. We bought the Baldwin Hotel, which had, I guess, opened in 1956. And that's where we opened our doors. And then we just developed organically over time. Horizon House was a place where people wanted to come. And so, we had these robust wait lists from the very, outset. The residents were the ones who were engaged in how they spent their time and in the governance of the organization. And that appeals to people. And so, through the years, we continue to develop. About every 10 to 15 years, we would spring up a new tower.
Yeah.
But the big thing about Horizon House,
proximate to the existing
facilities. Connected, really interconnected. And so that's one of the hallmarks about Horizon House, where a lot of senior living communities, they may have kind of a hub sort of building, and then they, have separate buildings all around it. But we live under one roof. And so that allows, just this ability to connect with so many different people.
You've got a city within the city.
We absolutely.
Up there on First Hill.
Yeah, I often feel like I am the mayor, because that is what it feels like.
Yeah.
Seriously, it is a city within a city.
How many people up there now?
Today, we have about 500.
Yeah.
But pretty soon, it'll be 700 people under one roof. And so, Horizon House is a place where, even though we continue to iterate, we attract very like-minded people who love arts and culture, who love, social activism, who want to still be very connected and very engaged in the city. We have a lot of creators and makers who live there, educators, intellectuals. And so, over the years, those same types of people continue to come. And the beauty of it is that it doesn't matter how much money you have at Horizon House. It really, the currency there is, really your intellectual curiosity, as well as, just your service to both the Horizon House community and the external community.
You have city makers under
the
roof there.
Absolutely.
And they want to stay connected to the urban core and the downtown and walkability.
Absolutely. They walk. I mean, these are city dwellers. They take public transportation. They walk. We have people who have cars, but honestly, most people don't use them. Many have given it up. We just kind of launched a new car share program that people are using because they drive so infrequently.
Where you have multiple residents sharing
car
too.
Yeah, they just kind of rent. It's like a zip car, but it's ours.
Those are the things you can do when you're living in a dense place, right?
That's it.
Share resources. I was looking through your website the other day, and you mentioned you have a bunch of makers under the roof, and you've got maker spaces too, right?
We do.
Which I thought was super unique to a residential building to have. Maybe you describe kind of what's some of the different types of spaces you have in the building for residents.
Yeah, so today, we have a wonderful wood shop. So the wood shop is a place where, they make, the residents make things for their own personal kind of use or friends, but they also use it as kind of a collective service project where they make wooden toys for area daycare centers. and just a great place of gathering. We have a sewing room where, people, again, they sew for themselves, they sew for friends and family, but they also use it as a space for, public good. And they sew quilts and make things for different organizations supporting people. We have a wonderful potting room. So if you are someone who loves to garden, you don't have to store and have all of the things you need to pot your plants. People don't have to worry about wrapping gifts. They can do that. We have an array of things. It's so much fun to have wrapping room.
Cool.
We will in our new building also have a pottery room with a wheel and a oven and all of that great stuff. But it really is a maker space. We have an artist studio where, just every medium of art happens there, from drawing to painting. So it just spurs a lot of creativity.
How unique is this model of assisted living, senior living in a downtown, in a city? Is what Horizon House is doing, is it fairly unique in as far as how close you are to the urban core and how dense you are and sort of this high-rise type of living, or is this a model that exists in lots of other places?
No, pretty unique. I will say, and what's even more unique is how many senior living organizations that are kind of tower-based downtown are in Seattle.
Yeah.
You won't see that anywhere else in the country at all. And so there are only a handful of cities who even have senior living downtown.
You're referencing like Mirabella and
Mirabella, Skyline, Murano. To have that many plus a Horizon House downtown you don't see that anywhere else in the country. I mean, I know there's like one in Chicago, there's one in Milwaukee, but then that's really it. Even when we just went through financing for the West Tower, when the team that finances our bondholders, when they came in town, they were shocked. They couldn't even envision, what does senior living downtown look like? But it says a lot about the type of people and what it means to aging, because in different parts of the country, growing older means very different things. And in Seattle, it really means being vibrant. It's about wellness. It's about, continuing kind of, living in the way you always lived, but with more time to do the things you want to do. It's more geared toward health. So living downtown makes sense versus, people who might have a more kind of disease management model of living.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the importance of social connections to life quality, lifespan. And then the things you don't have, like stairs, right? Elevators and one floor living and transit and
for sure.
Proximity to services. I mean, there's so many, and healthcare and so many advantages.
Yeah, you can get to everything. Our residents, one fun thing that I love is to get downtown. Many of our residents, they have this whole escalator system they use. So they're not walking up and down hills, really.
Yeah, they know all the secret tunnels and paths.
Exactly, which I love.
I always forget about those, of like the underground under the WAC and the Fifth and into the Rainier Tower, and
they know how to get up
wet
on
or
First Hill.
climb too many stairs. Convention Center, of course.
Yeah, that's our gateway. Freeway Park, our residents. I mean, they use every aspect of the city. Like I said, they can get anywhere on public transit. That's their preferred, method of transportation. We do something really neat for people who want to take an Uber or Lyft, so we just reimburse them for that. And so it, just gives people their independence. They don't have to wait like in a traditional senior living organization where you've got to wait for the van.
The shuttle's coming by.
Shuttle, you can go wherever you want to. It's a private thing. You don't have to, go where the shuttle or van takes you. So it's pretty cool.
You mentioned the new tower that it was great to join your groundbreaking, I guess now several weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you had a good turnout from mayor and a couple city council members in the community. And what led to that investment and decision to build more?
So it was quite a journey. It was a pretty thoughtful journey, I have to say. And I'm really grateful that our board went on this journey. So back in 2020, our board decided to do, strategic planning as organizations do. And they did it in a really important time. It was COVID. And so, it was a good time to really step back and think about what was the next iteration of Horizon House. And my predecessor, Mike Ostrom, he ran a really good strategic planning process where they decided to really think through everything. They looked at kind of all of the pressures that senior living was facing, the growth that everybody knows is coming. And they just said, okay, let's consider it all. In our field right now, affiliation, like in a lot of other industries, is kind of a hot thing to do. We're a single site, which is becoming, a rarity in senior living, especially nonprofit senior living. And so, they examined it all. They went and they talked to some of the organizations that they thought they may have some, like culture or synergy with, and they brought them in to talk about, let's talk about, what it would look like for us if we were to affiliate. What about, we also looked at some smaller organizations. What would it look like if we were the affiliator? They thought about, it was very difficult. We tried to get property close to Horizon House right across the street for about 20 years from Virginia Mason, and we had not had success. And so they thought, well, what if we were to, go buy land in Kirkland and build offsite? So they considered everything. And they, went through kind of this whole thought process, and they stepped back and said, what makes us unique? What makes us special? And that really is the energy you get when you've got 500 people under one roof and they can decide what they want to do for themselves. And the board really thought at that time, we cannot replicate that off campus. We certainly won't be able to maintain, aspects of this if we were to affiliate. And we had, somebody in California making decisions about
where you're going to be. Yeah.
The other big driver was our socioeconomic diversity, which is so important to Horizon House. We are one of the rare senior living organizations in the country that serves the middle market, especially as a life plan community. And that's so important to Horizon House, the residents we have today, the residents who are coming. And so we also knew that was not going to be able to be possible if we did anything different than what we're doing today. But we knew we needed to grow.
How do you serve the middle market? I mean, so many of us think or sort of are told of like, oh man, that's expensive care. You better start planning ahead as you age if you want to be in one of these facilities. And how do you strategically meet the need there?
So we, in two ways, really the scale, having, so many people living under one roof where we can have shared, services through staff and, having kind of one connected physical plant so we're not so spread out. So that's one of the ways. We do have, diversity in price. And so that's really how we serve the middle market. In our central and east towers, which are older towers, we do have, very affordable units. Our units start as low as $60,000 for an entrance fee. I mean, and you think about a city like Seattle, you can't do anything for $60,000. And then our monthly service fees are correlating. But I think the real wonderful part of that is our residents have raised a lot of money in an endowment to pay for residents' assistance. And we take all of our risk on those lower units. So if somebody moves in, we will know from looking at their financials and, running them through kind of, just a financial analysis, we'll know they may run out of money, but that's okay. We want them to live with us. And so we take the risk. They run out of money, they get to have residents' assistance. And so that's really how we serve the middle market. And we want to continue doing that. And building the West Tower will allow us to do that. As the cost of everything continues to rise, we now will have an additional almost 200 households to spread all of those costs, as well as to continue, our philanthropy and raising more money to support more people who need it.
And before you broke ground, you had 70% of those units leased?
Yes, we do.
Which, there's not a lot of buildings, not a lot of residential buildings that go up in the city of Seattle with that kind of pre-leasing, if any.
Yeah, and that is a hallmark to life plan communities. In order to get financing, really you have to have the 70%. So it's like you have to have the proof of concept that people want to come. And they have to put down a pretty substantial deposit, 10%, on the entrance fees. Today we're at 77%.
Wow.
And it just continues to grow. And so that, to me, it says a lot about people wanting to age in Seattle. It says a lot about the organization and the history, because these people decided to say yes to Horizon House before we even got financing. They didn't even know if it would exist or not. I think the other caveat is that we started our real kind of pre-leasing, if you will, or, pre-sales is what we call it, in 23. And this building doesn't open until 29.
Yeah.
So it, just says a lot about, history and culture and a vibrant city.
I feel like I should get in line here soon as
I tell everybody, you want to, honestly, the thing is by the time you're 70, you want to know where you want to go. You want to have some money down even before, because in this industry, the demand has far, far outpaced the unit count.
Yeah.
And there just is never going to be enough places for people to live.
Do you have a sense of whether your residents, is this the first time they've done high-rise downtown living? Are they coming from a big house in the suburbs, or are they aging out of a condo building in downtown? Or what's your customer profile?
It's all of it.
Yeah.
It really is all of it, from people who've lived, on First Hill or Capitol Hill.
Mm-hmm.
They've lived in a building or downtown, and they want to stay here. They can't imagine living anywhere else. Their whole life is here. To people who live in Redmond and they just have always wanted to live downtown and be close to things. And it's getting harder for them to come across the bridge. We also have a fair amount of people who come from other cities, other states, where they're coming to be closer to children or grandchildren. Yep. So all of it, people downsizing like humongous, 4,000, 5,000 square feet homes, to people who say, I've already downsized twice. So we have all of it.
Well, it's such a great story to see the demand for downtown living from that population. And, the story of downtown's residential boom over the last 20 years has been well told, but it's often about, young folks coming in and taking tech jobs and, all that's great. But the story of the demand from seniors to want to be close to arts and culture and be in a walkable community and remain or come downtown is not one that's been as well told. So. Yeah,
and it really, to me, it spurs, it helps continue the independence.
Yeah.
When you're not disconnected, from what's happening in the lifeblood of a city.
And you're not held hostage to the car to get around.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons people say, I'm free down here. I can stay connected. Yeah. Our folks, and they understand what it means to live in a city. We don't have people who are squeamish, about walking through the park. Sometimes I want them to use a little bit more caution when they're kind of trudging in late at night, walking through the park from Benaroya Hall or things like that. But, they know what it means to live in the city. They want to be a part of the city, and this allows them to do that.
So 18 months in now or so to this role, what's been most rewarding, most surprising for you?
I would say most rewarding, honestly, it's the way everybody should want to age. And so, as I'm getting older, it just is giving me a new lease on life. I'll say being in Seattle, seeing this other kind of end of the spectrum, where I've come from Flint, Michigan. And my whole vision when I got into aging services, I've only been in aging services. This is my 10th year. Mm-hmm. I come from a large acute care and other smaller nonprofits. And so, working in Flint and senior living, my idea of aging was sick and disease management and just, mainly disability. That's what I saw. In Flint, you've got a population of people who, they're really living at the other end of a lifetime of disparity in a lot of ways. And so for me, a lot of my work was around how can we just help you maintain so you don't lose so much, so you don't end up in a nursing home. There wasn't really the opportunity to think about thriving into your 90s. Like that didn't even exist. And to come here and see it, I will just tell you, it gives me a lot of hope for my own future. And I'm, kind of singing the praises of what a real long life can look like. So that's been surprising because, again, I didn't really know what that looked like. I knew what senior living looked like. I knew what building buildings looked like. I knew what serving people looked like, but not this kind of brand or type of aging. So that's been both a surprise and rewarding. Just how I would also say, just how well received. This is such a welcoming community. Seattle as a whole, the residents here, being able to just be introduced. A lot of the residents, they want me to feel at home here, and they do a lot of introductions and, trying to fast track my knowledge into Seattle and, making sure that I'm, feeling connected and that my family feels connected. And that's been really, really wonderful. I say this, and this is true. I'll be married for 26 years on May 3rd. We have done more, thank you. My husband and I have done more in our almost 3 years here in Seattle than we've done our whole entire marriage, just being out and about in community. I will also tell you from more of a work perspective, just work-life balance is a thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from the Midwest, it is not
Don't
a
tell
thing.
anybody, though.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
It is not a thing.
We're working hard out here, okay?
No, I mean, it's wonderful because when people show
and we
up.
like to play.
Right. But
Yeah.
it makes, when you're at work, you're at work. But because you're working for a bigger purpose, because you have a life outside of work, that's been such a shock and surprise for me. But I'm enjoying it. I'm really trying to delve in and not bring any of my nasty Midwest workaholic habits here.
Isn't nasty? Oh, the
my workaholic
piece,
habits. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that is something that's special here.
It is.
There's a very nice balance. Mm-hmm. So you didn't say Seattle freeze. In fact, you said, I don't know if you've even heard that term.
I hear it.
You hear it? Doesn't sound like you're seeing it or feeling it, though. There's no freeze at Horizon House.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's 2 degrees of separation from anything at Horizon House. So I probably don't have a normal situation. And I'm with people all day, which is wonderful. But I don't know. I find people here, people mind their business. I'll say that. So I don't know if people take that as not being friendly, but I will say the only thing I have seen people here, they don't always say what they feel. So that's been a bit of a change for me. I have to kind of ask people like, okay, are you cool with that? Or do you agree with this? Because, people they're not like overly emotional about how they feel about everything.
Sometimes a little passive, right? Yeah. Well, you definitely have a warm community there. I've had a chance to speak at a couple different events there. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun just kind of talking about what's going on downtown and get great questions often. And yeah, there's no freeze up there.
No, not at all.
It's a warm, welcoming, lively community.
Yeah, they care a lot about, of course they care a lot about what happens in Seattle. They've committed here, our organization as a whole, and they want to be a part of the solution. We don't have you don't hear around Horizon House, what is the city doing? What is city government doing? They want to partner with city government. That's kind of our organizational culture. We want to be a part of helping and supporting. One of the things I learned really quickly when I got here was, around the election forums. We have a huge election forum at Horizon House. And again, it's just really want to be close to and being able to influence and share, how much the city means to our residents.
And you're inviting candidates in. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Every type of election. And it's funny when I got here, you don't know. And so you ask politicians, do you know Horizon House? And they just kind of chuckle and they say they run the best election forum. So it's been fun.
Yeah, I bet they do. It's very sharp and probing, tough questions. Like no one's getting out of there easy.
Tough. And they don't hold any punches either. When they've got something to share, they're going to share it.
If you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
Honestly,
have you ever had like a dream job that you'd only do for like a year?
Yeah, I really love mentoring young people. So, maybe spending a year as like an adjunct professor somewhere, just kind of teaching those real world, experiences. One of the things I always talk about, my journey was not direct. It was like this wavy, crazy journey. I wish somebody had have just sat me down and said, you know what, you're good at these 4 things. We see this. Have you considered? Or,
to matchmatch with your skills and a vocation.
Yeah, or at least, having the opportunity to expose, back when I was growing up, mentorship wasn't, a thing like it is now. And so I do wish, and so that's always been kind of a goal of mine is to help fast track people. When people know what they want to do, let's get you connected. Let's, help you get to experience it. Let me share with you the things that really will help because you said you wanted to do this thing. So you don't spend a ton of time spinning in circles on things that won't necessarily get you there. So I do a fair amount of mentoring, but I would love to spend some time in America's universities and just helping make that bridge between academia and the real world, because it's often a pretty far leap for students who are graduating.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's murky of just, what are the different jobs out there?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I try to just expose my kids to just like learn about what people do and what what the different jobs are. And
yeah, for sure.
You don't have to decide immediately, but just
try some on for size and at least have some exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have to twist your arm to get your husband out to Seattle? Was he as excited as you to get out to the Northwest? Had he spent much time out here before?
No, well, we had lived in Detroit for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And, Detroit was awesome. I mean, I got a chance to see the rebirth of a city.
Yeah.
And
what period of time were you there?
I was there from 96. Really, we sold our house in 2018, but so long time.
The ups and the downs and the coming back up.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And it was, really, really interesting to watch it happen and, to be a part of it and, to bring people along, because a lot of people, like, things were happening and in full force. People didn't even believe it. People who lived in the suburbs there are so disconnected. It's definitely not like Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
People
disconnected from the downtown
very disconnected.
And the city.
Yeah, people who live in the suburbs, they might not even come. I remember I had a summer job, kind of the first summer I got there. I worked at AAA, and anybody remember when we used to do the triptychs? And I remember at that time, the Red Wings had won, the Stanley Cup. So there were people who wanted to come from a suburb downtown to the parade, and they needed a triptych. And I thought that was crazy. But yeah, so my husband, I got a chance. I was born and raised in Flint, lived in Detroit, had a wonderful opportunity to go and be the first executive director at a senior living organization in Flint. So that was the arm twisting to get my husband to move back to my hometown of Flint, Michigan.
It was harder than Seattle.
Oh my gosh. So Seattle was like a dream. I mean, we couldn't get here soon enough. Flint was difficult for my family, I will say. Difficult place to live.
Well, Detroit's got a great story. I was with the head of the downtown Detroit group not too long ago. And man, they've got a lot going on.
They got a lot going on.
The pride in that city for its downtown, for the city, for their progress, It's been a short window of time to see a rebirth. And although like Flint, it is literally an hour door to door. It might as well be, an ocean away. It's just so different. Just everything about it is different. So moving to Flint was the hard part. Moving to Seattle, like our appreciation is, it's on 10. We love everything. After you've lived in a city that, has had a lot of trauma, to come to a place like Seattle, you just feel like every day is a gift. We love it here. So you mentioned the Red Wings. Have you converted to being a Seattle sports fan yet?
Oh, of course.
Did you leave the
Seahawks. Yeah. I will tell you, the Lions, I've been a diehard Lions fan, even through all of the loss. And there has been so much loss. It was nice as soon as we moved, they started to win a little bit.
Yeah.
But the Seahawks, it's infectious.
You got caught up in the fever. Yeah. God, how can you not, right?
Yeah. But I would say Seattle probably matches Detroit in the sports energy. It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. They both are very much sports towns.
Pretty great sports town.
Yeah.
Did you have that sense when you were in Detroit that Seattle was this much of a sports town?
No, you don't really hear. That's the bad thing, or maybe good thing. I don't know. You don't hear a lot about Seattle. What you hear is not true. All you hear is that it rains.
Yeah.
You don't hear anything else. And everything has kind of been a wonderful surprise. You don't hear that it has huge hills. You don't hear. So we didn't know. We didn't know that it was such a sports town, or a lot about the people. So.
Well, a couple concluding questions, Erica. One is, what was your very, very, very first job?
I worked for Studio M Ice Cream in Chicago.
Oh.
And they made me a supervisor because I was a college student. I had never had a job before. And being a supervisor meant I closed, and I was able to...
Immediately you're a supervisor.
Oh, day one.
Yeah.
I got hired in, no work experience at all. I was the supervisor. I got to close and put the money in the safe each night. So that was my first paid job.
And you're supervising people too, I imagine.
I was supervising people. And the funny thing is I wasn't supposed to be working. My parents were like, you're in college. You're supposed to just go to school. But I was talking on the phone a lot. And that was back before free phone bills. And so I had to get a job to pay for that long distance phone bill that I had. But it was great. I had a strong work ethic from the outset because my dad had a wonderful work ethic. So that was my first job.
Was the ice cream any good?
It was great. It was homemade, and it was one of those mix-in places, which, I had never seen before. So it was fun.
Well, and our final question, and maybe you're still curating this, but do you have a perfect Saturday in Seattle?
Oh, I do.
Do you?
So I'm a coffee person. So, of course, moving to Seattle was awesome. So like every Saturday, I would love to explore and try to find a new place. I do have some favorites, but I do try to explore new cafes. So my husband and I, if we can get up, maybe drag my 12-year-old daughter, depending on if she doesn't have an activity, and we'll explore a new cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love going to Discovery Park. I come from Detroit, which is the concrete jungle. So hiking, we never understood hiking until we got here. And although, I'm sure some of our real serious hikers might not consider Discovery Park hiking, it is hiking for me. I'm evolving, but it's a place where I know I can't get lost.
That's urban hiking.
Exactly. I'm not going to get lost, for real.
Yeah.
And I can do the full loop and not worry and end up on the beach. So that's part of my perfect Saturday. And then love, having lunch somewhere in the city, and then going to play pool at Temple Billiards with my husband.
Yeah. Oh, you got a good game?
I'm trying. The residents at Horizon House, they are the best teachers. I'm trying to beat my husband. That's the goal. So going to Temple Billiards, and then maybe going home. Well, of course, going home, getting a shower, getting dressed, and coming back to Jazz Alley for a show.
Oh, yeah.
7:30 show and dinner. That for me
Where's home for you? Are you in the city, outside of the city?
Not just yet. We're in Newcastle right now.
Yeah.
When we moved here, my parents also came out with us. I'm an only child, and so my parents are aging, so they came out. So we had to move somewhere where we could find a house for 7 people.
Did you invite them, or did they just follow you?
No, I had to really invite, really invite.
Encourage.
Yes, lots of encouragement. So, yeah.
That's great. That sounds like a great Saturday.
Yeah. As soon as my daughter is finished with high school, she's in 7th grade now, we're going to, one of these buildings around here, we'll be moving in. I'm ready to ditch the car and all of those fun things.
Yeah. How was she adjusted to the Pacific Northwest?
She loves it.
Yeah.
She has really enjoyed it. I mean, it's her point of reference now. I mean, she's a Washington kid, for sure.
That's cool. We welcome her.
Yeah. Thank you.
You got a ranking on your favorite coffees yet?
So, I do. I love Piedmont coffee. I don't know if you've been.
I don't know Piedmont. Where's that?
It's on First Hill, but it was an apartment building that they've converted. So that's really, I love Piedmont coffee for meetings. But Vox coffee is just top notch.
Yeah.
So I love Vox. As well as in Ballard, I also love, drawing a blank now, but I'll think about it as soon as I leave. But I do have a favorite in Ballard that we love going to. Can't think of the name of it.
It'll come to you. And then another new one on the waterfront, Boon Boona. Have you been to Boon Boona yet?
I've been to Boona Boona.
Yeah,
I have been.
Yeah,
but,
that's right.
Yeah, I've definitely been there. The one near Seattle University.
Right down on the waterfront here.
Oh, they've got one on the waterfront.
Just opened in
awesome.
just below the market. So
have to go.
Yeah, no shortage.
Not at all.
Well, thank you for making time and for being a listener too.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for that. And exciting to see your project take shape this year.
Yeah, we're very excited.
We don't have a ton of groundbreakings right now in big towers in downtown. We got some, but so it's great to see what you're doing there and to see the demand and to see
huge demand.
How much you've got pre-sold. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
So congratulations on the city within the city you've created and your mayoralship and leadership of it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good to have you. Well, hope you enjoyed my conversation with Erica. Appreciate her making time to come on Seattle City Makers. I want to close out with a recommendation of something to check out in downtown Seattle. And we are approaching roof deck season, and we've got a number of good ones I want to lift up and highlight. One I just got to that's fairly new, the Fogo de Chao Rooftop Deck and Lounge over on 4th and University. A great space inside and out, great food and drink, and great views. So go check out the Fogo de Chao Roof Deck and Lounge. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on this episode of Seattle City Makers, presented by the Downtown Seattle Association, with support from James Cito and production by Thread Theory.